Welcome, my friends, to the Spirituality, Healing, and Vision Quest podcast, where we're going to take a deep dive into universal spiritual principles and ground them in modern day practices that you can apply to your life today. Hi, my name is Beth Beurkens, and I want you to know that I am really committed to simplifying ancient wisdom practices. I've been studying them for over 40 years now and inside of them, and I want to give you easy to understand, proven, and reliable keys that are going to unlock true sources of power and healing for you. You're going to walk away from this podcast with some practical tools to create that greater meaning and purpose, that larger purpose that your soul is calling you to. All right, so let's get going on the next episode. Thanks for joining me. Hello, my friends. Hey, I want to welcome you to Spirituality, Healing, and the Vision Quest. I'm Beth Beurkens. I'm your host. I have been a teacher of shamanism and a Vision Quest guide here and throughout Western Europe for the last 30 years or so. And I am just thrilled to be here with you today. Today you're going to gain some really ancient wisdom. Ancient as in shamanism goes back, Vision Quest goes back at least 60,000 years. Some people are saying 75,000 years now. And there are so many ancient wisdom keys that are embedded inside of the world's oldest spirituality, which is called shamanism. And I am here to share every time we meet one of these keys with you, a key that you can go from this podcast, go right out into your life and apply to your life, bring into your life. And bring more clarity, bring more wisdom, perhaps bring some guidance and some problem solving, and even some healing into your life. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. And let's take a breath. I like to start all my work by just taking a breath. We often come to adventures and events like this kind of out of breath and having searched for the right link, and let's just take a breath. You think about the trees that you live with, whether they're palm trees or oaks or maples or white firs, ancient cedar trees. They're making oxygen for you. They're making life force. We're going to be talking about life force today, so let's start with breathing in that life force. And as you're breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth, you can just let go of any little stressors, any little, any little tensions you might be carrying. Just breathe it out, let it go. I want to share an ancient Sami prayer with you. The Sami people, of course, are those wonderful shamanic people. Many of them are still reindeer herders way up in the far, far north of Norway. And they have a prayer that goes like this. I invite you to just lean into this. But this is all about you and all about your world. And I'm inviting you to make that connection. The sun is a circle. The moon is a circle. The earth is a circle. The drum is a circle. We are a circle within a circle. And we share an interdependence with all of life. And we have a unity with all things. So interestingly enough, the Norwegian government had for hundreds of years outlawed shamanism. And the Sami people were not allowed to practice their own religion. Just recently, Parliament passed a law that recognizes shamanism as a legitimate religion. So it's just such great world news, you know? So I want to talk with you about exactly this, about the sun that shines every day and the moon that is up above us every day. And the Milky Way, the spiral of the Milky Way that's out there right now. We may not see it, but it's out there. And it has an influence. It's part of what shamans call the net of power, what the ancient East Indian people called Indra's net. The shaman's net of power. The earth is part of this. The trees that we just are breathing with are part of this shaman's net of power. And why this is important for you is that there is everything has a living force within it. Now we know this about our kids. We know this about our dogs. We know this about our cats. We know this about our gardens when we plant them. It's spring now here in the Northern Hemisphere. And I'm thinking about, I've got these sunflower seeds and I've decided this weekend I'm going to plant them. We know so many things have life force inside of them. We know the vegetables that we're cooking, life force, right? But we often forget about the larger life force, which influences us, which potentially can feed us when we tune into it, that has power to offer us. Everything has a living force within it. There is a life force inside of each being. And there are ways to actually plug in to this life force, to this shaman's net of power. I show my vision questers how to do this. I introduce all of my shamanic students and clients the importance and the value of this. You can plug into this life force just like you plug your lamp into the wall. And you hit the switch and the light comes on. Similarly, you can plug into this, hit the switch, and power, when you know how to work with it, power can actually fill you up. Just like when you pour water into your glass or into your water bottle, you can similarly get filled up with power and life force. And doesn't that sound good? So often, and myself included, you know, I found myself in this situation before my first vision quest when I was working with Evelyn Eaton. I was just putting energy out here and there. I was teaching at 3 different colleges and creating new courses, and, you know, had, you know, like 9 different classes that I was teaching at one point. And I was just using up my own energy. I was putting all my energy out there, you know, burning it up. By the time I got to the Inyo White Mountains for my vision quest, I found that I was very, very tired. I was actually burned out. And it took me a couple days to really get dialed into that. You know, I'm just only 30 years old. Well, I'm just starting my teaching career. Well, how can I be so tired? How can I be so burned out? And there was this, I would go to the edge of the cliff every day and I would look down 8,500 feet. And there was this huge, beautiful pool of blue water straight down there. It was desert springs, deep springs. And, you know, I'm in the blazing hot desert, but this pool of water is just steady, strong, invincible, does not evaporate in the middle of the Mojave Desert, all this incredible heat. And I thought, there's got to be another source to work from. I want to find that source. And over the course of the 4 days and 4 nights of my vision quest, I did find that source and I did get plugged into that. So I want to invite you to think about your own life. And, you know, are you tending to just run your own energy, you know, and run dry and you just like collapse at night because you've burned it all up. Well, know this, if that's you, there is another source that is available to you. And I'd like to read you a poem that I wrote many years ago about this shaman's net of power. And then we'll talk more about how you may want to get plugged into this. So, the stars call out to you. The trees and streams sing your name. The moon and sun call out to you. The mountains, animals, and ocean too, saying you belong to a greater whole. You have a unity with all of life. You are not alone. You are not alone. You belong to a greater whole. So there are many shamanic methods and ceremonies for discovering, uncovering this power that is all around you right now as you're listening to my voice. I'm speaking to you from the central part of California right now, and it's spring equinox. There is so much power that is in the air here right now. The last couple mornings, I've taken my first cup of tea outside in the backyard with the golden retriever, and just sitting, sipping tea, and just getting plugged into the power of spring has been amazing. Blossoms are falling from the plum trees in our backyard. Hummingbirds, monarchs all coming to these plum blossoms. The woodpecker pounding on the giant pine tree up the hill. The red-tailed hawk who has a nest across the way from me, calling out to her mate to bring the food, because the hatchlings are needing to eat. And the sun, the power of the sun, and the aroma in the air right now, extraordinary. Just breathing that in, breathing that life force in and filling up with that is so empowering, so inspiring. So everything has a life force within it. And I'm inviting you to think about in your own life, could you use some more power, is what we call in shamanism? Could you use some more life force? Would you love that? Would you love that? Because, as we fill up with power, with life force, parts of us get to heal. And when we're filled with power and we're starting to get healing, then other parts of us that have been dormant, locked away perhaps in the box with the ribbon and the bow and the paper still on it, that gift that we're here to live, those parts of us begin to awaken, what we call our greater purpose. What we came to the earth to offer, to give, to share, to share with others. That unique thing that you came here for. We are enabled and empowered to get to that peace in our lives, that greater meaning. So everything has a living force within it. There is this net of power all around you. Some people call it the cosmic web of being and becoming. And it has been my great honor and my great privilege to be teaching shamanism here and in Europe for many, 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 many years, and to see people just come alive in the workshops. They get a drum in their hands and they come alive. They get the stones in their hands and they learn stone divination, and they come alive because they're able to help themselves and help other people. So, we're talking about connecting to source with a capital S. The source in shamanism is sometimes called the teachers, the spirit allies, the power animal helpers. And my hope is that with each of these podcasts, you're going to feel this connection to Source. You're going to begin to trust that it is there for you, that you are not alone. And every week, I'm going to give you an action step or a shamanic tool from, my medicine bundle to you. So that you can make this tool, this practice, your own. So here's what I want to share with you this week. I want to invite you to set aside, let's say, 10 minutes and just go out in your own backyard. Maybe sit on your balcony, sit on your porch, or if you don't have that, then just go for a walk. You can even just go for a walk on a city street. Spring is happening everywhere now in the Northern Hemisphere. Leaves are starting to come out, blossoms are happening, tulips may be up, daffodils are all up here. Just, if you can, find a place to sit comfortably and quietly, alone. Turn your cell phone off, tuck it away, so it, put it on airplane mode, and just open yourself up to the life that is all around you. You might not see the sun because it's cloudy, but it's there. You might not see the moon because it's daytime, but the moon is there, and the Milky Way is there. You could also do this at night. If you prefer to do this at night, do it at night. Last week, I took my golden retriever out to the front yard, and it happened to be a crystal clear night on the Monterey Bay. And I looked up in the heavens. Oh my God, there was the new moon in the arms of the old, just sending out this beauty to us. And there was the Ursa Major, the Big Dipper. Oh, and there was the North Star, shining and gleaming so brightly. And then I looked again, and there were the Pleiades, very faint, but there were the Pleiades right there in the west, hanging there in the sky. And I just got plugged into the nighttime part of the shaman's net of power. You can do this too. Choose what works better for you, night or day, or maybe dawn. Dawn is very powerful. Dusk is very powerful. Just begin to open up to those influences, to the living force that is inside of every tree, every bird, and let that come into you. Be fed by it. This is the spirit food that the earth offers us. Just as you're walking, feel your connection to the roots, to the rocks beneath you, to the soil, to the grasses. There is so much that is being offered to you. And so you make yourself available. You make yourself open, make yourself receptive. So I invite you to try that out this week. And I'd like to close with one of my favorite Navajo prayers that's hundreds and hundreds of years old. It comes from the Navajo people in Arizona and New Mexico. And it really confirms our true identity. They say this: the mountain, I become part of it. The herbs, the fir tree, I become part of it. The morning mists, the cloud, the gathering waters, I become part of it. The sun that sweeps across the earth, I become part of it. The wilderness, the dewdrops, the pollen, I become part of it. So let yourself be fed this week by the power, the life force that's all around you. And just feel your heart opening. feel yourself connecting, getting plugged in to this life force. Thank you so much for being here with me. It's just been a joy and a pleasure to share this ceremony of the shaman's net of power with you. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Sending love, blessings, healing. See you soon. Bye for now. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. So any questions, any comments, please feel free to connect with me personally on my website, bethbeurkens.com. And if you feel guided to, one thing that I do ask is for you to rate the podcast. This way we can reach way more people, and in that way impact more lives, of course. So with that, I'll see you on the next exciting Spirituality and Vision Quest podcast.